Well, hey there, Cecelia here, and in today's video, I am talking to the people who know their business is meant for more leads, more clients, more sales, more engagement, more followers, but you're just not getting the more that your business needs. If that sounds like you, then this video is for you. And the reason why I'm sharing this topic today is because I had a call with a potential client, and one of the things that we talked about is the more, right? What does she want? And what do you want in your business? Is it more leads, more clients, more sales, more appointments on your calendar, more people buying your DIY course, more people signing up for your program, more people taking you up on your free offers? What is the more that you want in your business? So let's get some clarity on what the more is, and then let's talk about maybe why you're not getting the more of whatever it is that you want in your business. For those who don't know me, I am Cecelia Faye Morris, also known as the Digital Marketing Maven, and I teach business owners how to build their brand and their business online using automation, AI, and Facebook. And I teach digital marketing strategies with a spin on it that gives you the ability to get leads, clients, and sales using automation, AI, and Facebook. Wherever you're watching me, give me some likes, some love, drop a comment, share this video with someone who can use this knowledge. And if it's YouTube, subscribe and click that bell so you get notified whenever I post something new. So let's get into the more of it all. So I'm going to share with you my journey and how I was able to deliver more and get more in the process. So the first thing you have to understand if you want more is that you got to put some skin in the game, right? Nothing ever happens without breaking something in the process. If you want to make money, you got to spend money. Think about a seed. When you put a seed in the ground, the seed has to bust open and grow roots before it actually grows up to be whatever that thing is that you planted. The same thing that happens in your business. If you are not investing in yourself in your business, then you can't really expect people to invest in you. Now, there's two types of investment. There's a time investment and there's a money investment. The thing about time is we all have we all have a limited amount of time, but we have an infinite amount of resources. I already know what you're thinking. You're like, no, I don't. I only have this much money I can spend each month. You might have a limited number of money, but you have an infinite amount of resources. And the reason why I say an infinite amount of resources is because knowledge is your biggest asset. The more you know, the more you grow. Have you heard of push, persistence till something happens? Or have you heard of focus, follow one course until successful? That's what you need to be doing in your business, first and foremost, if you want to get to the more of what it is that you want in your business. So again, my journey started off as a blogger. And I was running traffic ads to my blog. Inside of my blog, there was a link where people could buy a $27 ebook. From that $27 ebook, they could upsell to a $5,000 coaching program. Well, that worked for a while, but not very many people were buying the $5,000. I was getting a lot of the $27 people, but not a lot of $5,000 people. What I learned from that experience, though, is how to run Facebook ads. So what that prompted me to do was to start creating my own product. So instead of selling a $27 product that belonged to someone else and hoping that they would be able to upsell people to the $5,000 product, I created my own $397 product. For $397, I would guarantee that I would help you get your very first or next ad up and running within 7 days. We spend the first 4 days getting the ad set up, going through the creatives, making sure your ads manager account was good. The 5th day, we would launch the ad, and then the 6th and 7th day, we would look at the results. And at the end of the 7th day, you'd have an ad that was running. You would understand the data that your ad was generating, and then you would know how to pivot and what to change in your ad to make it more productive, whether it's to get more sales or more leads or whatever your ad was set up to do. So that was my $397 product, and that went really well. However, I had to get 8 people every single month to buy this product if I wanted to keep the lights on around here. And that's when things got to be a little dicey, because if I got 6 people, then I'm robbing people to pay Paul. If I got 9 people, then I got a little extra money to put up for the months where they only get 5 people. So there wasn't any steady, it wasn't steady, and it wasn't consistent. Not only that, I was always on the hustle and grind trying to make something happen. So you might be wondering, well, wait a minute, how much did you pay to learn this skill? I paid $5,000 because that's what I started with, right? Blogging, $27 ebook. From the ebook, I upgraded to $5,000 to learn how to put some money behind the machine of my blog, which is running traffic ads on Facebook. But once I learned about ads, then I learned that I could actually create my own products and sell my own products. So I was able to serve people at a higher level, but I was still on the hustle and grind. So I upgraded again and dropped another $5,000 to learn how to take my 7-day course and turn it into a 6-month program. Why did I do that? Well, I did that for a number of reasons. One, because people were coming to me that either didn't have a social media presence, or if they did, it was very shaky at best. But I wasn't doing them a real service in teaching how to do Facebook ads if I wasn't helping them up their social media presence in the process. So because I knew that they needed to up their social media game, that's why we spent the first 4 days just getting their profile and everything set up properly, making sure their ads manager account was set up properly. But again, that's a lot to cram into 4 days before we started running their Facebook ads. And I was missing out on people who maybe didn't have an offer, maybe who wanted to get started. So how am I going to serve the people who actually want to run Facebook ads, but they don't have all the fundamentals in place? Well, I did that by, again, paying another $5,000 to have someone teach me how to create an actual program from my 7-day course. That way, not only could I serve people at a higher level, I didn't need as many people every month to keep the lights on around here. And I wasn't always on the hustle and grind. It was a great thing. I would do a 3-day challenge. On the 3rd day, I would make the offer, and then people would get on my calendar. We'd have a conversation. If it was a good fit, they signed up. If it wasn't, I wished them well, and I told them to follow me. And then some people actually circle back to me once they decided that they were ready to go. I had one client who followed me for 11 months before she was ready to pull the trigger and sign on the dotted line. But again, because I had a higher offer that was more comprehensive, I was then able to get the people that I wanted to give me my version of more. I wanted more money, and that required me to do less sales because I had a higher value item that I could provide. Are you following me? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Do you see how I had to change what I was doing so I could get to my more? So what are you changing about what you're doing to get to your more? You know, it says in the Bible, faith without works is dead. And it also says, and I made this up, but I'm saying it anyway, you can't pray for new levels and be lazy. You got to put some skin in the game. And if you're constantly floating around like a butterfly, lighting on everybody's free stuff, you're never going to get to a place where you're going to get somebody to hold your hand and take you down the path you need to go get to your more. You've got to find out what it is that you want, and then you've got to find somebody who's going to take you through that to that place, right? And that's not saying that you won't have some bad experiences along the way. Just in the last 18 months alone, I've hired 3 separate coaches who promised to get me to the promised land, and they did not. But that's okay, because it's all about trial and error. You find what works and you find what doesn't. If it works, you move forward. If it doesn't, you cut it off and you move on, right? I'm all about not throwing good money after bad. But you got to find somebody who's going to align with whatever the more vision is that you have for your business. But you've got to be willing to invest in yourself. I say all the time, every next level of success is going to require a next level investment. If you're not willing to invest in you, you can't expect people to invest in you either. The more you know, the more you can charge. The more you can charge, the more you are going to be able to serve people at the highest level. So if you know that you're meant for more, you know your business is meant for more, you know you want more in your business, what are you doing to get the more? Do you have clarity on what the more is that you want? Do you want more engagement, more followers, more leads, clients, and sales? What is it? You got to get clear on that. And then the next thing you need to do is to find somebody who's going to take you by the hand and help you get the more that you want in your business. And then last but not least, which is most important, you've got to be willing to invest in yourself. I liken my entrepreneurial education to the way I tackled my formal education. When I graduated from Purdue University, I could command a certain salary. My first job, a year and a half after college, was $35,000 a year. I know, right? But this was 1996. I was over the moon. Most money I've ever made in my life. I was making in my first job as an engineer, I was making $10,000 less a year than what my mom was making to put me in college, right? So when I started college, we had to fill out those forms for those parental loans. My mom was only making $45,000. And at the time, I thought that was a lot of money, right? And then when I got out of college and I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm making as much as my mom made taking care of two kids and put me through college. I was over the moon. But after I graduated from college, I went back to school and I got my master's. With my master's degree, I was able to command a higher salary. And then I got more education. The more you know, the more you can charge for what you know. And the same thing applies to your business. So people say all the time, I can't believe that you're charging this much for what you do. I'm not charging you this much for what I do. I'm charging you so you can avoid the pitfalls, the potholes, and the mistakes that I made in the journey so you can get to success faster than you would trying to do it on your own, because I've already made most of the mistakes. So I can help you avoid the traps that I fell into in this process. Kind of like my plumber, Danny. When Danny comes to fix a water problem in my house, he's barely here an hour and he doesn't leave without getting at least $75 from me. I'm not paying Danny for being in my house for an hour for $75. I'm paying Danny for the 20 years that he spent learning how to be a master plumber so he can be in my house for less than less than $75 an hour. I'm sorry, for less than an hour for $75 to fix my water problem. So when you hire a coach, you're not paying them for what they know to get you to the other side. You're paying them for them to show you what they know to get you to the other side. So that's, my friends, how you get to the more. Again, you got to know what your more is. You got to find somebody who can help you get there, and then you got to pay to play. Simple as that. And I promise you, you will see the more that you want. I'm living proof of it right here, right now. So if you want to know how I could possibly help you get the more, then I invite you to join my Get Leads, Clients, and Sales workshop so you can see how I teach people how to use automation, AI, and Facebook to generate 3 to 5 leads a day like clockwork, 24/7, 365. The link is somewhere around this video. I love to have you in the masterclass so you can see how the magic works in marketing when you're using automation, AI, and Facebook to let people know who you are, what you do, and who you serve. So that's it for today's video, friends. If you know you are made for more and you're not getting there, I just gave you the blueprint to get there, and I invite you to join me in my Get Leads, Clients, and Sales Masterclass, where I will show you how me and my clients use automation, AI, and Facebook to generate 3 to 5 leads a day on autopilot, 24/7, 365. If you got value from this video, give me some likes, some love, drop a comment, share this with someone else who can benefit. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe and click that bell so you get notified whenever I post a new video. This is today's Wednesday Wisdom, which I do every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye for now.